Welcome to Divorced from Reality with Johnny Bardine.
Welcome to Divorce from Reality with Johnny Bardine. Johnny is a dedicated attorney who has been serving the Tampa Bay community for over a decade. With a mission to help individuals and families through their most challenging times, Johnny provides compassionate, fierce advocacy in all family law matters. I'm Lisa Mosby, your host, and joining us today is special guest Rachael Reese. Johnny, on February 23rd, you mailed an open letter signed by 383 Stetson Law alumni. We're recording this on February 25th, and by the time this airs next week, there may or may not be a response. Johnny, if there is a thoughtful response by this time next week or when this airs, what would you like to see in it?
I think, well, first of all, one of the questions I'm getting asked is whether I expect a response from the university, even in light of their previous statement, they're going to remain neutral. And I do. Of course I do. I think the law school is committed to alumni engagement institutionally. And I think they have a lot of respect for us. And so if they are presented with a letter with a big chunk of us who are asking them to do something, I think they'll do it. I think they should do that. And I don't want to predict what the response is, but I hope it's very clear, reaffirmation of our ethics and a public distancing from Penn Bondi's conduct in the recent months.
And if there's silence, what does that mean to you?
What does it mean for them? We'll continue. It is a mistake to think that I've sent this letter and then we'll stop if they don't respond. And so I don't, so we'll have to escalate. We'll have to turn the temperature after that. The shape, I don't want to speak too much about the shape of that, and we're going to remain professional and constructive in that escalation. But like we said in the last episode, silence is complicity, and I don't think there's a different way to take it in this regard.
So, Rachael, I'd like you to chime in on this. If there's a defensive response, how do you think it should be handled?
I'm going to try to keep this as professional as possible. First of all, I would hope that there would not be a defensive response. I think that to say outright up front that you're going to remain neutral and then to go against that in a arguably negative way, I think would blow the minds of a lot of the individuals that not only signed the letter, but also the individuals who have not had the chance to sign the letter. I think it would be a tremendous, I don't want to say a slap in the face, but that's where I would stand on that. And I think that it would be an even greater slap in the face because of the fact that it's not just about Pam Bondi anymore. It's about the fact that another alumni, one of my actual classmates, Ryan Schwenk, who has now spoken out as a whistleblower from his time as an ICE agent, and the actual just unconstitutional, the violations that he was privy to and had personal knowledge of. And he spoke out, has honestly risked his life and his livelihood to continue to serve the principles and the ethics that Stetson taught him. So to go against that, and now if they were to respond in a defensive manner, I would be extremely disappointed. And I say that word because I know when I was a kid, when my parents said that to me, that was always more impactful than if they said they were upset with me or any other word. But that, I truly think that a lot of alumni would feel the exact same way, because it would be extremely disappointing to see them take a stand and isolate one of their own as well in the process, who has taken great risks to stand true to what he learned at Stetson. And I know that that is exactly why he did it, because that was one of his reasons why he joined ICE in the first place, was to continue to uphold the Constitution and to serve our country and protect the citizens that he went to law school to protect.
I know you're here in support of Johnny, and I'm just kind of curious. I have a 3-part answer here for you. Would you consider Johnny to be relentless? A, relentless, B, slightly unhinged, or C, annoyingly effective at what he's been pursuing these last few weeks?
Well, I think that every single person that I know that practices law is slightly unhinged. So I don't think that that's should even be an option. I am not even slightly unhinged. I'm actually very unhinged. So I think that Johnny is relentless to necessity. I think that his relentlessness is indicative of his goals in this. And I think that his goals are admirable. I think his entire decision to take this on himself is the reason why I agreed to help in any way that I could, because if he hadn't done it, I probably would have. But I'm very grateful that he did and allows me to kind of be part of that. So I think that his relentless speaks volumes about what his goals are. But I think you also have to be relentless in this kind of a situation, because people, the people that want to sign or who want to be part of this will do it easily. But there are others that maybe, number one, have concerns about the impact on their job, and number two, have impacts in other areas. So I think that being relentless and being consistent allows those individuals more time and more opportunities to do the right thing. And I think that they will over time have that kind of come to fruition moment, if you will. And then I think you said C was annoyingly effective. I'm going to just say yes. I won't even say annoyingly, though. It's just effective, because I like to be reminded of things. I like to get the updates. If I'm going to be included and participate in something, I want to know what that is and where we're at and what's going on, because we didn't sign this letter for nothing. We chose to have our names on it because we want to see something happen with this. So I applaud Johnny through and through.
Thank you for saying that. And I'll just add, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? And in a past life, I've got a considerable background in electoral and campaign politics. And so I know that engagement requires a lot of touches. And so people they're early adopters, and then they're stragglers, and you got to keep at it until you can maximize what you can do in the time that you have to do it.
And Johnny, we don't think about this lightly, what you did here, and having all of this support stand alongside you in moving this forward. I'm curious, how did it feel mailing that envelope on February 23rd?
I was thinking about this today because I sent an email update to all the signatories, and I tried to do that every day. But I got to tell you, I was nervous about it. And I was sitting in the parking lot in front of the post office and finding it a little hard to go in to mail this, because I'm like, we're taking on taking on a big thing that could be scary for people. So I called Rachael, I called a couple other people, and they're like, look, you got almost 400 people behind you, and you're right. And so after that, my nervousness gave way to resentment, because we shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't all have to do this. Actual attorneys shouldn't have to explain to another attorney the importance of being candid or honest or standing up for people who can't stand up for themselves. We shouldn't have to cajole the law school to say that. And we're all very busy. We've made a lot of time for this. And so that's how I thought. I felt nervous, and then I felt very excited about it, and a bit angry as I was putting this in the mailbox.
Thank you for your honesty. If Attorney General Bondi called you tomorrow, what would you want to hear?
What I think we all want is not going to happen, which is some acknowledgement of a mistake. And these people would never say that, because they're not making mistakes. They're intentionally doing this, causing chaos, protecting their own. And that's what they're doing. So I would like some acknowledgement of mistakes and some accountability. We're going to get neither.
Yeah. They're going to stand 10 toes down, because that's what they've just been continuing to do.
Yeah.
And if they let up now, then they are seen in the wrong. And that's just, I don't think they're capable of doing that.
And that's been, in quotations, an effective strategy on their part up till now. But the problem with the people who do that, where if when you're a hammer, everything's a nail. The problem with people who do that is eventually that runs out, and the people that they're nailing aren't going to take it anymore. And so I think we're at that point now.
And the answer will come. There'll be a response of some sort, or maybe there won't, and we'll have our answers at that time. But Rachael, I want to ask you, what do you hope listeners take away from this conversation? Just us opening the door and being public and having this space to have this conversation.
Growing up, I used to hate talking about politics and making things political. But I think that the biggest takeaway from all of this is that this is so much more than that at this point in time. I think that the takeaway from this conversation should be that this is an issue of what is right and wrong. And the reputations of individuals like myself and Johnny are at risk, because people are starting to question, what law school did Pam Bondi go to? Where's that school? I've never even heard of that school, which I used to take a lot of pride in that, in the fact that Stetson was a small private school that was known only by those that should know that it is a school of excellence in advocacy. And I think that to take away from this conversation, people need to be upset that that reputation is now being tarnished. I had an incoming 1L who's already been accepted to Stetson for next year, messaged me on social media, and she said, I just want to thank you for starting this conversation and using your platform for good, because as an incoming 1L, I have serious concerns about going to Stetson now because of the backlash and the reputation that I will have moving forward. And I think that is a very significant fact and factor that people need to take into consideration, that Stetson should take into consideration, because I can only imagine the number of applicants in the future will decrease tremendously if this is not something that is handled in the right way. And it just needs to be an acknowledgement. It's not this reprimand, or we're not punishing. It's just merely stating that we actually stand very firmly on the morality of the attorneys that we educate in our school. And we stand behind the beginning of the 383 of us, and many more that I know will come forward with time.
So, Johnny, what does the rule of law mean when it's tested?
It means, does it apply to everyone? Does it apply to everyone? The rule of law is a rule. So it has to be evenly applied, and there can't be exceptions for people you like politically, or your friends, or someone who might get you in trouble, or someone who is more powerful or richer than you. Rule of law is the rule of law, and we're all subject to it.
And I think that's a great place to leave that. I want to thank both of you for engaging in this conversation and for all of your time and dedication to seeing this through and opening the dialogue and allowing us to have this conversation.
And yeah, thanks so much for letting us do it. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Johnny.
Of course, Rachel.
Thank you for listening to Divorced from Reality with Johnny Bardine. For more information or to connect with Johnny, visit BardineLawFirm.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review if you found this episode helpful.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.